This is Tellstar, an exclusive presentation of news and commentary. Hello, I'm Stu Gang for Tellstar News. Now here with Senator Eugene McCarthy is Kay Bonner-Need.
Senator McCarthy, welcome. It's good to have you here. And we're going to start out with a couple of big ones. And you can answer both at the same time or one at a time, whichever you prefer. What do you think of the people who are handling the diplomacy for us now? And what do you think of the foreign policy of our government at the present time?
I haven't thought very highly of the people handling foreign policy since the end of the Truman administration. I think the foreign policy in that administration was the last we've had that was based on reasonable historical realities. That since that time we've been into ideology. In the Eisenhower administration, especially John Foster Dulles, who was sort of the last great Covenanter, and he was succeeded by Dean Rusk, who was the son of a Presbyterian minister. Between the two of them, they made foreign policy into a kind of religious operation. They were succeeded by three in a row, really, the Johnson advisor Rostow and Henry Kissinger and then Brzezinski in the Carter administration, all of whom were sort of at home in the Austro-Hungarian Empire and sort of thought of restoring some kind of global balance of power comparable to what their countries had known historically. I think their foreign policy was pretty bad. And I don't know, this administration seems to be using Marines. And I never thought of the Marines as being very diplomatic. I think Reagan was a Marine, and Schultz was a Marine, and McFarland was a Marine, and North was a Marine, and there are one or two more. And you wonder why any administration would really go to a kind of Marine-dominated State Department and National Security Agency to develop foreign policy. And when it turns out more or less as it does in confusion or oversimplification, well, I think you can trace it back to almost institutional precedents. So the policy reflects, I think, as much functional disorder and a lack of sense of institutions and of the bearing of ideas in history on foreign policy as it does particularly bad individual judgments.
All right, now let me ask you this. What do you think, what's happening right now, is this another Watergate?
It shouldn't be called Watergate. The fact that they're calling it another Watergate, or I think there's a contest somewhere to tell what kind of gate it is a reflection on the inadequacy of the imagination of the American press. Watergate was a place. To try a gate into this, they said White House Gate or something like that, is a little ridiculous. And it's also a distraction, I think, from reasonably clear thinking on the topic, and that it associates what's going on now with what went on at Watergate. And I think the two events are quite different, both in substance and also in procedure. But once you call it a gate of some kind, the disposition to say, well, it's another Watergate, which it isn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do they mean by gate? Is this just something that's come from the fact that Watergate was a real name?
Well, I think that's where it came from. It did come from the name of the hotel. And the word gate has little relevance to what happened either in the Nixon administration or to what's happening now. And it does serve, in my judgment, as a distraction from sort of objective historical judgment on whatever you want to call this, Bumble House or something like that.
That's one I hadn't heard.
No, well, they haven't been using house, they've been using gate, and so you're sort of limited to what a gate can be.